so excited.
Wow.
Oh, you too. I feel like it's like people are just like, wait, these guys feel like they just hung out with each other on like a magical vacation. And we kind of did. We kind of did. We just had this incredible live stream that we're just coming off of into this podcast. And Michelle and Paul, they rocked a house of hundreds and hundreds of people. Thousands will watch it on the replay. And they basically broke down their entire business and how they've taken what we've taught in Astroflipping and turned that into a six-figure income in 6 months. And the success is incredible and crazy, and we're going to get into that. But before we start, guys, you will really want to watch this video to the end because Michelle and Paul, they might just give you some information on how you can be a part of their incredible journey and how you can maybe work on their team. And trust me, if you get a chance to work on Michelle and Paul's team to be a part of what they've got going on, you won the lottery. If I had had an opportunity when I was getting started to be able to like connect with people like you, it would have really streamlined a lot for me and given me a huge jump start. And it's interesting because like I think, wow, I wish I had known them, and then you guys know me and you learn from me, and this is like this whole crazy feedback loop of like amazingness. But let's start at the beginning because y'all were not real estate people.
No.
Tell us about that. Like, where are you from? What happened? How'd you get here? I know we started our relationship off on, if Jamil isn't the real deal, I'm gonna find his ass and hunt him down. And so we need to like get into that. We need to like they basically threatened me, guys, and now they're on our podcast as my two of my biggest superstars. They're their own superstars, but like two superstars in the space. So let's rewind. Let's get back to how it all happened, where it started, how it all went down.
Awesome. You want me to start?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jamil, for having us on your podcast. I mean, we're so blessed and so grateful to be in this space with you, to be in this energy with you. And we're just so excited that you're a real estate coach, and we're so grateful for that. But to get started, for those of you guys that have never met me, my name is Michelle Garabito. I'm 29 years old. I was born and raised in the Bronx. And I didn't come from, wealth or anything like that. I actually grew up in poverty. My family migrated from the Dominican Republic and they came to the Bronx. Yeah, DR. And they came to the Bronx as immigrants chasing the American dream. And so I was born in the Bronx. And I've always had a dream of just helping my family get out of poverty. I had a lot of interest in theater and dance and music, and I really thought that was going to be my way out. But when I went into high school, I went to an all-girls private school in the Bronx. They were really on top of me figuring out, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What's going to be your career and things like that. And I always thought, I just want to be rich. I want to help people, and I want to make music, and I want to entertain. Like, that was just like my thing. So I went to college for a few months. I hated it. I dropped out. I just couldn't deal with teachers, couldn't deal with the campus at all. And in my senior year in high school, I was introduced to the Amway business. And I was so excited when I saw the business plan. I knew that I was going to reach the highest rank there. I got started when I was 17. I recruited thousands and thousands of people using social media, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. We've produced thousands and thousands of dollars of product sales. I've made as little as $50 to as much as $30,000 in a month in network marketing. I spoke on stages all over the world. It got to the point where my team blew up so much that we would have meetings in my Bronx apartment with 50 people. We would get the cops called on us all the time. And then eventually we grew to having a 500 to 600 in-person meeting in New York City, right in front of Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Yes. And I was a speaker I was on a weekly speaking schedule. If it wasn't me, I would have somebody on my team speak, where I will show the marketing plan on how to reach the ranks in the Amway business. And
so
Yeah.
In network marketing, because I'm not familiar with it. I never got involved. I saw people. I'd get invited to like a, hey, let's you want to learn how to not pay long distance fees. Like that was the one that was running around my city, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, it was dating a girl in Scotland, so I'm like, yeah. Tell me all about how I don't pay long distance. And so I went to one of those, and then I realized, oh wait, no, I do have to pay long distance, and then you want me to make all my friends and family pay your long distance too? And so like that was kind of what it was. But get into that a little bit, because is it products where you make your money, or is it people where you make your money, or is it both?
Well, we could do an hour chat just on that.
We can. But yeah, you can take it away.
I'll take over. So each one is different. The idea of the reason that they exist is it's the products. People are supposed to be making money off of the customer sales, right? Whatever it is, whether it's health products, whether it's beauty products or long distance calls, the money is supposed to come off of customers. A lot of cases though, it ends up becoming that the money is made off of recruiting, and then even more so off of the training system. So many of these people, they're making the bigger ranks are making a majority of their money from training people how to make money, yet they're not actually making money in the thing that they're training them in. They're just making money from the training. Right. And so that's one of the things that eventually we realized, and one of the reasons we left, is because these people weren't who we thought they were.
Right.
You know, that's the same thing that happens in this business of mentorship and coaching all around. There's so many people that claim to be able to teach people how to wholesale real estate and do this, but they actually aren't practitioners in the business themselves, which is actually how I got involved, because my Brent Daniels, the person who told me, Jamil, you've got to stop being quiet and silent, like say something. He came and visited my wholesale business. It was like, I've never seen anything like this before. This is actually the real deal. This is how it happens. And there's all these phonies out there that are pretending to do this, and then they're taking people thousands of dollars from people to train them on how to do this business, and nobody can learn anything because they're not actually teaching them what to do, because they're not actually doing the thing that they're teaching how to do.
Right.
Which is like why I think when you first kind of came into contact with me or heard about, you were a little bit put off, right? Like you had your guard up. And so tell us about that, and how did that change? Like what happened?
Well, let me lead on this one.
Yes.
So something else to mention is Michelle actually has started her own YouTube channel / podcast in helping people get out of network marketing.
Okay.
And teaching them actually how to be successful in the business world with the skills that they've
What's
learned.
your YouTube channel? Let's say it right now, because I want a ton of subscribers on there. What's the channel?
Well, if you're in network marketing and you're trying to get out of the cult system, we've been interviewing people that were high ranks and just speaking up on their truth. It's called Authentic with a K TV. Authentic TV. My personal YouTube is Michelle Garabito.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Guys, check it out. And if you've suffered through some of that shenanigans from network marketing, you might find some resonance with people's stories there. So that would be cool to support and hear people, and giving individuals that have been through that a voice is a huge thing. And I appreciate that you're doing that. You don't have to, and you're doing it.
No.
Because you've long done, like, you're not crying over shit anymore. You're rich. Y'all are rich.
We're good. Yeah.
So you're literally just doing this to help people.
Oh yeah. We're just giving people the space to speak up, because in that environment we were taught to shut up, not say anything about what's really going on, not share. And so many people are just leaving and seeing the abundance and the growth that we've been having after leaving, after they told us that you will not be successful when you leave. And we've proven that's a lie. And
when we left, we were excommunicated. All of the people we thought we were friends blocked us on social media, don't talk to us anymore. And the reason for that is because if they were to see that we're thriving, then it would confuse them. And so it's all about control.
For sure.
Wow, it sounds like a little Scientology-ish.
It's a cult.
Again, I said we could go for hours about this other topic
for
here.
Sure.
Again, if you're a Scientologist, I'm sorry, don't find me. I'm totally okay. I actually, what's funny is one day, you guys may or may not know this. I was a comedian in LA for years, and they've got the Scientology Celebrity Center that's in East Hollywood where I lived. And one day I had a few too many cervezas, and I decided I was going to go through the labyrinth of the Celebrity Center and pretend like I was interested in Scientology. It took me 4.5 hours to get out of that building.
Oh my God, Jamil.
I went through this whole revolving doors of rooms. I'm like, where am I? And then they would move me from room to room, and then new people would come in and like talk to me, and then they would leave. And then I was like, no, I just want to leave. And then they'd send me to another room, and then they'd sit me there, and then more people. It was like what you would imagine if you were on an episode of The First 48. What it looks like when you're being interviewed or interrogated. That's kind of like what that was like. Anyways, long story. Okay, so what happens next?
Yeah, so let me give you a little backstory of myself. So we met through we were in completely different teams, and there's basically a rule that we're not allowed to be friends if we're not in the same business team. And so we met at a meeting in New York, and we were banned from talking to each other. Her mentor called me and said, you can't talk to her anymore. And we just wanted to, get to know each other, and that wasn't allowed.
Because y'all hit it off like there was a love connection. You're like, Paul's fine. You're like, Paul's, look at that hottie. I like me some Paul. And so
yes, he would come speak at our meetings in New York, and I would always there was something about Paul. And then, like I told you, Jamil, we got so big, we had to rent coach buses to bring our teams to conferences, and we had 5-6 coach buses. And there were times where Paul needed some seats on my bus, and so he would ask me if he can have some of his team members on my coach bus, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. But then once we weren't talking about coach bus tickets, they found out, and my mentor literally called Paul and said, don't ever talk to Michelle ever again. He was a high rank in his right, I was a high rank in my right, and they just thought that if we communicated, one of us would leave, and crazy stuff. So we were banned from talking about 6-7 years ago, and yeah, you can keep it going from there.
Yeah, so in that environment, one of the things they focus on is young people who have a big dream to help and make a lot of money. And I got started when I was 18 years old. I went to the #1 party school in the country, University of Wisconsin at the time.
I thought that was ASU. I didn't know that was University of Wisconsin. But
I just went there to have fun. I went there to have fun, and then I discovered this business, and I said, here's a way. I knew I didn't want to work a job my whole life.
Yeah.
I knew that I was meant for more with my life than just the average, and so they captured that, and that's what I focused on. And I also had a lot of success at a young age, and I got a lot of recognition for that. And then a really amazing thing happened. Amway launched in the country of Jamaica. And my dream has always been to travel to other parts of the world. And so when that happened, I said, I'm going. And I just flew there, and I didn't know anybody. And over the next few years, I went 15 times. I built thousands of people in my team in just the country of Jamaica, this white boy who was living in Wisconsin. It was an amazing experience to really impact people there. And what I realized, though, is I didn't get a lot of support from my coaches after a while, because they were there to actually sell the products. They weren't submitting to the training system. And because of that, they wouldn't get a lot of support because the income was coming from the training system. So eventually that business fell apart. I met some great people and some great friends from it, and I'm grateful for that opportunity. I love Jamaica. And then as I started to notice that, I think both of us realized that more and more as we took time away. And then I saw that this is just not meant for me anymore. And I remember the last time I spent thousands of dollars to go to this conference where all they did was point out all the things, as I was improving in my life, getting my life together, believing in myself. I started running marathons. I was, getting out of my parents' house. And the more I did this, the more I would feel worse at these events, because it didn't matter how I was succeeding in other areas of life. If I wasn't succeeding in business, it didn't matter. And it was affecting my self-image. And I realized the more time I stepped away from it, it just started to shift. And I had a lot of experiences. I went to Peru and did ayahuasca ceremonies. I went to personal development events, and I just realized that the answers are within me, meditation, like you talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't need somebody to give me all the answers. I can find them. And so I stepped away. The person who brought me into network marketing took me out during the lockdown.
It's like a Godfather moment. You're Fredo in the boat. You know what I mean? Like was that what it kind of felt like? He took you out, or he removed you from the thing, or what was it?
I don't know. I think a big part of it, after being in something so long, my whole 20s, all of my community, all of my self-image, all depended on this. Even though I knew it was time to leave, I didn't want to. I was afraid. And so during the lockdown, I ended up going to visit him, and then we just said, let's just go travel for a few months. So we spent the time in national parks, living in nature, and it was like a massive cult therapy healing session. He just had me meditating and working out and hiking, and in 3 months I was able to heal it. We released a podcast actually all about him and I leaving, and people were pretty surprised, and that's when everyone excommunicated me. And then Michelle heard it, and we reconnected. And we started talking more and more and more and more, and then eventually she came to visit me and couldn't resist.
It's funny because I don't think it went that way.
Yeah.
It went that way.
Okay.
Because I heard of a different version. You chased her around. You were like, Michelle.
Paul always knew. I was single for 9 years. I was celibate for 3 years. I was not interested. I was living in New Jersey. I was totally not interested. But basically, my journey of leaving network marketing was the same thing. I used to be over 200 pounds, Jamil. I was overweight. I was so focused on just building my Amway business that I didn't care about working out. They didn't promote that. They just want you to focus on your Amway business. I had 5, 6, 7 meetings every day. I would do calls. I would do meetings. I would travel. I would do it all. And so I gained a lot of weight. And when I decided to actually lose weight and focus on my health and put business kind of a little bit to the side, that's when I started getting the side eye. My ex-coach in Amway was, I guess, exuded a lot of narcissistic energy. And so he controlled my finances. He controlled my family. He used my pain points as a way to control me. And I was really scared of him, and I was afraid. And so, like Paul was saying, I knew how to build the Amway business. Like the training that we just did, I used to do that for years. This is not something new for me. This is what I did. This is what I got paid to do. I got paid to speak. I got paid. And so I built a successful Amway business, but a lot of our coaches, they just knew how to have people pay for the trainings. And so he knew that I was big and I was special and I had a lot of influence. And so he would start to tell people Michelle's no longer building business. She's focused on her gym. She's focused on this. Don't talk to her. Don't sit next to her. They took me off the speaking schedule from a meeting that I built. They started telling people not to talk to me and things like that. So I just didn't care. I started to focus on me. I lost 80 pounds in a year.
Congrats.
And I just finally, thank you. I finally built that confidence for myself, and I started to focus on me. And so slowly I just kind of just separated myself. And then when I finally made the decision to leave, it was one of the darkest moments of my life because
it's like leaving a church or a
church,
a marriage, like a really abusive marriage,
it was a 10+ year abusive marriage. Every single person that I recruited in the Amway business, they all blocked me. It was hundreds of people gone from social media, phone calls gone, group chats gone, everything gone. A community that we were a part of for 10+ years. Once we decided to choose us and choose our happiness and no longer be a part of this cult environment, we were shunned and we were gone. I eventually went back to my original mentor, who was like a father to me, and he was also in the process of leaving, went through the same thing. And then we experienced the lockdown in New York, and we were locked down for about 4 to 5 months. And that's when I heard Paul's podcast. I couldn't believe Paul left. He was somebody that I looked up to in business. When I listened to that podcast, I was shocked, and I had already left, and I was finding my happiness again. I started a company by the name of Authentic, where is a course where I teach people that are network marketing how to grow their business using social media. We made over $30,000 with clients doing that. We have our YouTube channel, and we literally have coached and helped people leave network marketing and find success in business and in life.
Yeah.
And when I went to go visit Paul, I always had a thing for him, but I was fine. I wasn't really chasing after him. I wanted to travel, and he invited me out to Colorado, and I went to visit him for 2 weeks, and we had a blast. Oh my gosh, it was the first time. I didn't travel for years. I just stayed in New York building my business. I went to Colorado. It was my first time in Colorado. It was the first time I went hiking, first time I did meditation with Paul, first time ever. We went on our hike. He asked me to be his girlfriend after the 2 weeks. And a month later, I packed my bags, I sold all my furniture, and I moved to Colorado. And
amazing.
We have been traveling the world for a year.
Look, I see a suitcase behind you guys.
This is our house.
It's like, how fitting that you guys are flanking a suitcase.
Yes.
Because you go by digital nomad, right?
Yeah.
And so,
So
one of the things I noticed about you guys when you joined Astro was that y'all were like always in the most incredible like location. You'd be on a balcony with the ocean behind you, or just in sun-kissed and tanned and like in swimwear. And I'm like, what are these guys like? What is going on here? And so energized and so happy and so full of life. And I adored that. So I actually started following you guys, not as like, hey, they're my mentees, but I started following because I was just like, hey, like genuinely interested in your journey, your story, and what y'all are about. So much so that I even showed my wife, and I'm like, Nat, check these two out. Like, they're cute. Look at these guys. They're so fun, and like they've got this great life, and they travel, and they like, I just love everything that's going on. And then I started seeing you on the coaching calls more and more and more. So that's how I think we segue into how you even came to be in Astro. So tell us about what happened there and how it's been.
Well, one of the things in network marketing is we had to be at meetings 3 times a week. So we weren't allowed to travel unless it was for business.
Right.
So that's why once we left, all we wanted to do is travel. And we, a lot of people maybe do that in their 20s, but we didn't. We were too busy building our business. So that's why, even though now we're in our late 20s, early 30s, we're all out with traveling because it feels like now's the time to do it. And so I've been wanting to be a digital nomad. All the things that they said, you can't do it until you hit this level in business. We're doing it now, and it's amazing. And it's just so great that wholesaling and working with Jamil and Astro, we're able to do all that from anywhere we want.
Right.
It's just a really beautiful thing. You want to share how you found out about Astro?
Yes, I definitely do. So Paul and I actually started the year of 2022. I'm sorry, I'm already in the new year, 2021. We just wanted to live abroad and see if we can live together abroad. So from February to May, we were living in Mexico. And I had multiple streams of income. I had a credit repair business. I had my authentic company. I had a fitness company. And I was just making like $1,000 here, $500 here, $300 there. And I was honestly sick of it. And at the same time, I was also in the process of selling my Amway business to my coach because he desperately wanted it, clearly. But eventually he didn't want it. So he just basically took everything, and I just shut down my Amway account. So I have nothing to do with the Amway business anymore. I basically let it go. He took all my teams, everything. And I was totally at peace with that. And I was happy when I let it go. It was just nothing. There's no amount of money. There's nobody that can affect my mental peace anymore. It's just not worth it. So when we were in Mexico, I was trying to figure out other ways to create wealth. I was learning about stocks and trading and all that stuff. And then I had a credit repair business, and a lot of my clients were real estate agents. They would bring their unqualified, buyers, sellers to fix their credit. So they will come do my program. I will increase their credit by 50 to 60 points in about 4 to 5 months, and I'll send them back to the real estate agent.
Cool.
And then I increased my own credit score. I had like a 400 credit score. Now it's at the 700s, and that's what I was doing.
Awesome.
And so many of my real estate agent clients, they were like, you would be an amazing real estate agent. And I was like, really? Like my mom always told me real estate is the way to go. So the first thing that people do when they hear real estate is they go get their license. So that's what I was doing. I was in the middle of getting my real estate license in New York because that's where my family is. That's where I know a lot of people. And in the middle of me getting my real estate license, I was like, oh, hell no. Like there has to be another way to get into real estate. I don't know. I know you recommend getting your license and I'm sure we will eventually, but I couldn't deal with it.
Oh, but I don't recommend getting your license because I think the course is fun.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. What they teach you in real estate school is dog shit.
I know. Oh my God.
It's like it has nothing to do with how to be a successful real estate agent. It has nothing to do with how to understand how to comp properties. It has nothing to do with the laws and the instruments and the contracts that we use. We don't even learn about equitable interest. They don't teach you crap. All they do is in the licensing, they teach you how to stay out of prison, right? How to navigate the ethics and where to send your fees. Who to pay, what regulatory boards you need to pay. That's it. It's all that's about. But you need the license in order to get the credibility and in order to again, licensing. I'm not a fan of the what they teach. I'm a fan of the credentials so that we can get that out of the way and just get down to the actual business, right? Because I think being a real estate agent itself is you leave a lot of money and opportunity on the table.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we learned from Ryan Zoland that he tripled his income because he's an agent. So that's definitely our next step. But back in April, I was doing the course and it was dog shit. Like you said, I was like, there just has to be another way. And I guess, when the universe sees and God sees that you're getting his signs, he starts leading you in a different path. And so I was just sitting one day, I saw an ad about women wholesaling, women who wholesale network. And I was like, ooh, this is cool. I paid $25 for the masterclass. It was a 7-day event. Day one was on wholesaling. I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. So I started networking with a ton of people. I created my own Facebook group. I was like, Colorado's going to be my market. I created my Facebook group from the masterclass. I connected with all the Colorado women, created a Facebook group. And I was like, guys, let's learn together. So I started networking. I started going on YouTube and learning everything. And then I connected with Eric Canuelas. And at the time, I didn't know this, but he was doing a micro flip with me. He had a deal under contract. He needed help finding a buyer. I was already growing my buyers list based on what I learned from the masterclass. So I had 50 people on my buyers list. He was like, oh, you want to be dangerous? Get 200. I was like, oh, no problem. Next day, I was at 200. So I blasted his deal out to all my buyers. I found him a buyer. He was so impressed and he was just mind blown by the way that I was networking and all that stuff. And I was so impressed by the way he ran his business, super smooth. He's out in California. His market is in Denver. He was doing it virtually, super professional, super chill, wasn't pushy. And I was in Mexico and I was just like, I need to learn from this guy. So then after he was like, man, you will crush it. All you need is a coach. All you need is a real estate coach and you will crush it. I really recommend that you check out my real estate coach, Jamil. And I was like, nah, I don't do coaches. I don't do mentors. I don't do coaches. I don't do mentors.
I'm over this crap. I'm over these dudes.
I had PTSD. I was like, I'm not paying for no coaching program. Nope. I'm just going to learn from YouTube by myself. And that's it. And he was like, okay, that's fine. But as, the weeks went by, I'm still helping him. And I just became really frustrated. And so he would send me your YouTube videos. And I actually learned how to comp from one of your free YouTube videos. And I was like, oh gosh, if this is free value, imagine if I paid. Imagine if I paid for his course. So then I was like, fine. We came back to Colorado and I was like, fine, I'll look up Astroflipping. So I went on a hunt. I literally stalked you for weeks and weeks. I listened to every YouTube video, every podcast. I looked you up online. I went your website. I went everywhere. I started talking to other people about Astroflipping. And then Eric referred me to Jeff Taylor, who's the director enrollment. And he was walking me through your program and everything was great. And I was like, okay, I was taking notes. I was already calculating how I'm paying for the program. And then I was like, okay, Jeff, so I'm going to follow everything in the 6 weeks. Like, I'm going to work from 9 to 3 and I'm going to watch every single video. And he promised me that I would close my first deal in 4 weeks. And I was like, okay, if I don't close my first deal in 4 weeks, I will come after you. I will come after Jamil and the whole Astroflipping community, because I'm going to do everything that you guys teach, everything. And I mean, you can ask Paul. Once I paid for everything and I got access to everything every day from 9 a.m. to 3, I was watching everything in Astroflipping. I would be sleeping in my laptop sometimes, just like studying everything. I would attend the coaching calls, but I was just listening. I was just super quiet. And 4 weeks later, Eric Canuelas sent me a property. I added my fee on top. I found the buyer. I made $13,000. The following week, I found another property. I made $2,500. And that month, 4 weeks after joining Astro, I made $15,000. And I was like, oh, it's over now, baby.
Yeah. And then you started getting loud in the group. That's when you turned the camera on and you were like, okay, I'm tired of being quiet, Michelle, because you know that's not who you are.
Oh no. Yeah.
You're not a person who sits with you just see Michelle G on the Zoom screen.
No.
She's not into that.
No, that's not me. Not at all. And I was actually doing the work that you were teaching in the course. And so now I had questions. And I also am always, Paul knows this, I always want to be in the top 2% of everything that I join, and I knew that I was going to be one of your star students. I knew that I would eventually be on this podcast. I knew that we were going to be like in your inner circle, because we have the work ethic, we have the passion, and we knew that as long as we follow the course, we were going to be successful, and we are. And so Paul saw me make $15,000 right on my phone and just sending buyers and stuff. And he was like, what? I'm doing that. So I taught Paul how to do it, and he attacks the Tennessee market, and he does it all the Astroflipping way through micro flips and JVing and connecting with other wholesalers. And you want to share how much you've made since you joined Astro?
Sure. Well, just to give another point of view on that story, we went from the beaches in Mexico to living in a mountain home 10,000 feet above sea level overnight, which I don't recommend.
Don't do that.
And then right after that, Michelle's like, oh, I'm joining this course. I maxed out my credit cards. And I was just like, well, I mean, I'm used to Michelle doing whatever she believes is right. So I wasn't surprised, but I was a little confused. And I just said, all right, I'll watch her do it. And then in a month I saw her make 15 grand, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, that's it? That's all you did? I mean, she didn't even go see any property. She did it all on her phone and on her computer and Facebook groups. And then as soon as I saw her do it, I said, I could do that. And I just started joining and she recommended the Tennessee market. And so I just went in every Tennessee market Facebook group, and I just built up hundreds of buyers lists and started reaching out to every different wholesaler I could, because my strength is networking. And so I went, and then I worked full-time in marketing. So marketing and networking are what I do. So now you can tell why we did network marketing. And so I just networked with every buyer I could, built a massive list, networked with all these wholesalers. And I wasn't as quick as her. And I guess it was in a 3-4 month period, I did 62,000 in assignment fees, all off market micro flips. One of them, I know you were surprised at, I made $9K from an FHA loan property.
I've never done a deal like that, Paul. And that's when I was just like, these two, like I was already completely enamored by both of you. And then when I saw that you created a model there that I hadn't done myself, and being able to wholesale an FHA deal, I just said, there's a level of creativity and genius that exists here that's special, different. It's a different energy. It's a special energy. And I don't say that to a viewer right now who says, I'm not them. It's not about that. You are them. You are them. That's the thing. It's like, I think what they've tapped into is that they've got that, they know that inside of them is a spark, is a power that that allows them to do anything they set their mind to. And that's just it. When you tap into that little piece, and I always say this to folks, that Astroflipping is the biggest bait and switch there ever will be, because I'm going to say this out loud on YouTube, and you guys will all know that here's my scam. Here's my scam. I'm going to pretend to teach you real estate, and I'm going to transform you when you come into the program.
Very true.
This is not about real estate. This is about who you are as a human being. Real estate is just a byproduct, and the money we make is a byproduct of who we are as people. And you know that we work on ourselves as people as much as we work on the business of real estate in our group, right? And it is about really who we are, what we put out, our energy, our spirits, our souls, our words, our integrity, our actions, and it's huge.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I think that.
No, go ahead.
I think that the reason, Michelle and I and others have had a lot of success very quickly is we have been working on ourselves so hard, both individually and together, over the last few years. And I just think that opportunity met preparation. We've been working on ourselves, just waiting and looking for that right opportunity to apply it to. I think a lot of people come to wholesaling or into anything and just say, okay, let me make all this money and then I'll work on myself. And it just doesn't work that way. And that was one of the things in network marketing is I saw all these people who are supposedly really successful making all this money. And then I'd see them behind the door. They're really unhappy. And they're not, they're always saying delay, when you're rich, then you can do all that stuff. But then I see them supposedly succeeding. They hadn't done any of it. Mm-hmm. And here it's just so beautiful because we can do all the things we want and work on ourselves still. And then the more, like you said, it's all connected. I feel like wholesaling is just a reflection of my spirit of the work that I do on myself, in, this human form.
Correct.
So dope. So how can people be a part of the vortex of Michelle and Paul? And you guys run separate businesses, right? Like it's not so if they want it, it's not mutually, it's not like one thing. You don't come in and work with Michelle and Paul. You could work with Michelle or Paul.
Right.
And Michelle, as you guys heard, she's doing the majority of her work in Colorado. Paul is in Tennessee, which is like those markets couldn't be more different from each other, right? They couldn't be more different from each other. And so you really can like run the gamut of like, do you want to do like Nashville or Knoxville or, do some stuff out there, or does Colorado fit you, or maybe another market that they might be interested in moving into? You might be able to head that up for them. Yeah. But y'all are incredible. And I need people to, as we promised, and I don't know if you're willing to do this or not, because thousands of people will watch this. The To the Moon podcast and because you guys are stars, this will get a little crazy. You want to give away your phone number?
Look, we do have Google Voice numbers, so it's fine. I just have to find it. Well, you have your Google Voice.
Something else I'll add while she finds it. This is how unique each of the deals I've done. One was an FHA loan. Another deal was a land deal. All right. Another deal was a multifamily deal. Each one has been completely different, and I have no idea what I'm doing going into every one of them.
But you were able to learn how to comp those. Like we were able to help you comp those, value those, and know like where you needed to be price wise in order to make money on them.
Yeah, you helped me comp this land deal that I made 20 grand on.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Get ready, guys.
All right. So if you want to connect with me, it's 213-342-1474. And if you want to connect with Paul,
it's 931-771-2988. So Michelle is 213-342-1474. And Paul is 931-771-2988.
Incredible. Michelle, Paul, you are at Universal Studios right now in Florida, aren't you?
We did 3 days at Universal, and now we took a day off because we are exhausted from walking. And now we're doing 3 days at Disney starting tonight.
So we're heading over to Disney World Resorts right after this and do the whole.
What resort are you staying at?
The Caribbean one.
Okay, fun. So I was just there like 3 weeks ago with Pace and the baby, and we had a brilliant time. It is so fun. It is such a fun experience. You're gonna love it. It's tiring as hell though. And make sure you pack, like, go and buy big bottles of flats of water because, like, for whatever reason in the Disney park over there, like everything, there's no stores open after like 10 o'clock.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So that was just something that I wanted to share with you guys because I was thirsty every day, every night. I'm like, where do I find water? And there was just like nothing. Amazing, guys.
We rented a wheelchair for Michelle yesterday because she got too tired of walking.
Get out of here.
I was done. My feet were done.
How did these guys get to watch the antics that you guys are up to in the world on IG? What's your IGs? Can you share that?
Sure.
Yeah. So Michelle's is at MichelleGarabito.
So just how your name is spelled, that's it?
Yeah.
No underscores, no things?
Nope, just at Michelle Garabito.
Yeah.
And then Paul is Create Abundance. The E in Create is a number 3.
Yeah, so my business is Create Investments because the 3 is about a mind, body, spirit. That's why I like it. So it's CR3ATE Abundance, at Create Abundance.
Yes, and we just want to share that we paid for our Disney trip all with cash because in the past 6 months, we have cleared over $100,000 in assignment fees through everything that we learned through Astro. And we're right on track for the month of December to make 100K just this month alone. So we'll end 2021 in our wholesaling real estate business with over $200,000.
And I think that people can get a special discount because that's something I didn't even know that the publisher worked out with you because it's because you guys are so you're doing so amazing and you've brought people into your team and like they're thriving with you now. And so people can get a discount if they want to join Astro if they get referred by you. So here's a little secret, guys. If you want information on joining Astro, you can go directly to Michelle and Paul and they can hand walk you, or you can go and set up an appointment with the enrollment directors at Astro and say Michelle Garabito and Paul Nelson referred me, and just make sure you drop their name. Okay, make sure you drop their name because you will instantaneously get a discount.
Yeah.
And that's even a discount I can't give you. That's guys, I can't even give you that discount. That discount doesn't exist through me. It only exists through these two. So make sure you take advantage of that.
Yeah, the person who referred me, brought me into Amway and brought me out, just joined Astro.
Amazing. What's his name or her name?
His name is Hugh John.
I've met Hugh. He's great. He's like
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
He's great. He also built a really successful Amway business, and he's gonna crush it in this. It's gonna be great.
Well, guys, as we like to say, this business will take you to the moon if you let it. And again, you guys are incredible. I love you both so much. Any parting words?
Well, Jamil, by the way, we have both individually have made more profit through wholesaling in the last 6 months than we did in 10 plus years of network marketing. Just something I got to add. Well, what he would always say to people when they're leaving network marketing, which I think is so important, is just learn to think for yourself and believe in yourself. All the answers are within you. You don't need anyone else. Just go in.
That's it.
What do you got to say?
I'm just so grateful that we met you, Jamil, and you gave us a platform to develop wealth and growth. And I love that you just let us be ourselves. And you're not a godlike figure mentor. You're a spirit coach and mentor, and that's the reason why our energies gravitated towards you. And you know what you're doing. You put it out there in the course, and we just executed, and now we have a 6-figure business because of it. So we're very grateful that God led us to you. We're going to continue to make you proud, continue to make each other proud, and we're just going to continue to be a testament to what an incredible company you have built. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're doing God's work, Jamil. I can see it. And wholesaling is just your vehicle of doing that.
Thank you, guys. You're making me cry here. So I'm gonna sign off. I love you both very much.
We love you.
Have a fantastic time in Disney, and we'll see you all on the moon.
That's it. See ya.
Bye, y'all.